Welcome to Simply Country Cuisine. So today we're going to do some refrigerator pickles. The other day I did a canning pickle, more like a Clausen garlicky pickle. But today what we're going to try, and this is, like I said, a refrigerator pickle. This is a bread and butter pickle, and it's an Amish recipe. And so we're going to give it a try, and it shouldn't take us very long. And this is something you can actually, after about a 4-hour in the refrigerator, you could actually serve them. So if you did them in the morning, you could serve them with your dinner meal. It's really important that you use pickling cucumbers. They look like this. Now in my HEB, you can buy them in a bag. You go to a farmer, you can get them grown right out of the ground. They're a little odd shaped. They have a bigger seed in it than a salad cucumber, but they make a better pickle. I have sliced 6 of the cucumbers and 2 sweet Texas onions. Covered them with water, and I put ice over them, and I put about 2 tablespoons of kosher salt on it, and they've been sitting for about 3 or 4 hours, and that's fine. The recipe says 1 or more, and I figured the longer it sit, the salt would be brine. Now I'm going to go to the sink and rinse them off in the colander, and I'll join you back here in just a second. Okay, now I've taken them over to the sink. I've drained the briny salt water off of them. Just let them sit here, and they'll drain themselves. And in our pan here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 1 cup of white distilled vinegar. Make sure that when you're pickling, canning, make sure your vinegar says 5%. This says 5% acidity. Most vinegars are 4%. This keeps your food from spoiling, the extra percent. So what we're gonna put in our pan here is 1 cup of the white vinegar. And I know I buy a large quantity because I've been canning a lot. Dill pickles, I have made salsa, I have made tomato sauce, stewed tomatoes for spaghetti and chilies. And I've tried an experiment, we haven't tasted them yet, but I tried pickling some white sweet onions and some jalapeno and onion mix. So we'll see how that tastes. And I'm gonna add 2 cups of white granulated sugar. They were called bread and butter pickles back in the day because they were used to barter. They were actually used as money. We're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. Anyway, it's the yellow in the mustard. And you'll see when the pickles are done, most bread and butter pickles have a yellow cast to them. So I'm gonna do just a 1/2 teaspoon. And this is very staining. It will stain. We're gonna put 1 1/2 teaspoon of yellow mustard seed. I'll start with the 1/2. And now the 1. Add 1 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed. And a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger powder. I've brought our vinegar, sugar, and spices over to the stove. I'm going to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to then add the cucumbers and the onions to it, and then we'll bring them to a boil for 4 minutes. Okay, now our mixture has come to a small rolling boil, and we're going to now add our onions and our cucumbers, our sliced onions and cucumbers that we've rinsed all the brine off. We're going to add this into our mixture here, and we're going to then bring this to a boil and boil it for 4 minutes. This will be like cooking spinach or greens or something. It cooks it down. It really wilts. Now what I like to do is I like to kind of toss it around in there so it can, all the vegetables can be coated in the brine, the pickling brine. Remember, this is a sweet bread and butter pickle. And one of the ways that this was eaten back in the day was on a fresh piece of bread. They just put the bread and butter pickles on them and just ate it off of bread. Well, it's an Amish recipe. And I will say that I do remember, we lived in Amish country when the girls were little. And there was this family that we just adored, an Amish family. Her name was Clara. And her daughter Mary used to babysit Dina and Jamie for me. And we went to their house for lunch a couple times, and it was always a major spread of food. And these were on the table, and they served it with the bread that she had popped out of the oven that day. And we shall let this boil now for 4 minutes. Just every few minutes, just every few seconds or so, just give it a toss. All right, now the vegetables have cooked for about 4 minutes at a boil. I've taken them out, I put them back in the bowl, covered them up, and I refrigerated them for, let's see, several hours. I think these have been refrigerated for about 7 hours. And you can see how much they've cooked down. But there's enough for 2 quart jars. So I'm going to take my tongs. Now remember, this is not going to be shelf secure. You're going to have to keep it in the refrigerator, and they will stay in the refrigerator for up to a month, because I'm wanting to make sure these are really packed down in here. See how we can pack them in? Yeah, we can get all this in 1 quart jar. Alrighty, so I have a little bit left. I can put in a little dish and serve it with dinner. A jar of bread and butter pickles. And it doesn't take, like I said, you could do these of a morning, let them be in the refrigerator, stay in the refrigerator. By supper, just put them in a little dish, put them on the table. You can serve them with your supper tonight. So that was an easy way of preserving. And I do want us to try doing the other cucumbers later, at a later date. They do take a while to cold pack in the canners, but they're a lot of fun to do. Pickling, so far to me, has been one of the easiest forms of canning, and I'm having so much fun. I know I'm pickling my family to death, but they're just going to have to eat it all. So thank you so much for joining us for this quick little video on making some refrigerator bread and butter pickles. And remember always to subscribe to our videos on YouTube to be connected on Wednesdays when they air, and on Thursdays we have a contest on Facebook. And if you don't have a place to worship, please come join us at any Glad Tidings location. It's one church, 5 locations in Central Texas. God bless you. We love you so much. Have a good day.